So, start. So, second unit of second BSc, that is electromagnetic theory. So, electromagnetic theory consisting of so many sub-concepts. In today's class, we are going to discuss about equation of continuity and the Maxwell's equations. These two are very important for the sake of examination. Before going to start actual syllabus, let us understand what will be the history of electromagnetic theory. So, name itself tells that the electromagnetic. So, electromagnetic consisting of two branches of physics, that is electricity and magnetism. City and so, before 1829, the scientists we are going to study about the electricity and magnetism are two separate branches of physics, and we are going to deal with separately with the concept of electricity and the magnetism. After 1829, the concept of electricity and the magnetism will be changed. That means by conducting two experiments, the two experiments leads to know that the electricity and the magnetism are consisting of some similar concept and both are one and the same, and we can study the electricity and the magnetism similarly. These two experiment was conducted by two main scientists, that is Oersted and the Faraday. By using these two experiments, the Michael Faraday gives the four fundamental equations. We call that fundamental equations as Maxwell's fundamental equations or Maxwell's electromagnetic equations. So, in 1829, the scientist Oersted conducted an experiment regarding the electricity. Okay. So, regarding the electricity and the electricity. So, firstly he knows that when you supply some electricity, he observed in his experiment that when he was supplying some electricity, the magnetic needle in that experiment start fluctuating or producing, or it will be showing some directions. The magnetic needle showing some directions when you supply some electricity to that magnetic needles. In 1831, the Michael Faraday also conduct an experiment regarding the here when you supplying some electricity, the magnetic needle is showing some directions. In 1839, the Michael Faraday conducting an experiment regarding the magnet. That means when you changing the direction of magnet, the current will be produced. That means when you take the magnet and moving upward and downward in a coil, the current will be produced. In this experiment, he observed that electricity will be produced due to the movement of magnet. From these two experiments or from these two observations, they conclude that when you changing the electricity, the magnetic field will be produced in first experiment. In second experiment, when you changing the magnet, the electricity will be producing. That means the electricity and the magnetism having some relationship between electricity and the magnetism. That means if you want electricity, by changing the magnet we get a electricity, and if you need the magnetic field, by changing the electricity we get a magnetic field. That means there will be some relation between the magnetism and the electricity. From these two experiments, the scientist Maxwell in 1831 gives four fundamental equation of electromagnetism. He gives the four fundamental equation by combining these two experiments. We call that equations as Maxwell equation. Maxwell's equation or electromagnetic equation. These equations are very important in the electromagnetism. When you consider the classical mechanics, the Newton laws and gravitational laws are very important in a classical mechanics. So that in electromagnetism, these four Maxwell's equations are very important. Sometimes we consider the electricity plus magnetism plus optics. These three concepts or these three branches as a electromagnetism. Some optic concepts also we used in the electromagnetic theory. So that the Maxwell gives the four fundamental equations. We call that fundamental equations as Maxwell's fundamental equations or Maxwell's electromagnetic equations. Let us study what are the four Maxwell's equations and what is equation of continuity and how they derive the four Maxwell's equations. Firstly, the equation of continuity. So, before going to study the equation of continuity, let us understand the charge conservation law or charge conservation principle. So, we know that the charge conservation law or charge conservation of principles tells that the net charge is constant in isolated system. So, this will be the charge conservation principle. So, charge conservation principles tells that the net charge, what will be the net charge in considering some volume, that net charge will be constant in an isolated system, and also we consider the charge density rho. So, this will be charge density rho. So, by considering the charge conservation of principle tells that the net charge is constant in an isolated system. So, what you mean by the net charge will be constant in an isolated system means if you consider some volume. So, this will be some volume having volume. So, here this will be isolated system. If you consider this will be an isolated system. In this isolated system, the charge will be constant. That means, so we know that the current is nothing but the flow of charges. So, outward current means the charges will be moving outward, means the current will be moving outward, means the charges inside this surface or charges inside this volume will go on decreasing. That means the charges will be moving outside. So, here it will be not 0 because what will be the charge will be going outside, the charge inside the volume will be goes on decreasing with respect to the time. So, it will be constant and in an isolated system. That means how much it will be going outside, that much only it will be coming inside. Here the charge does not equal to 0. It will tell that the principle of charge conservation, or another words we can say that this principle of charge conservation gives the explanation about the equation of continuity. So, the conservation of charge conservation gives the explanation about the equation of continuity. Our equation of continuity can be explained by using the principle of charge conservation principle, or in other words we can explain or we can state the principle of charge conservation as if the net charge is crossing a surface bounded closed volume is not 0. So, if you considering some surface having some volume bounded by some one volume, it does not equal to 0. It is always some value, it does not equal to 0, then the charge density within the volume must be changed. That means within that volume the charge density rho will be changing with respect to the time in the manner that the time rate increases, charge within that volume is equal to the net rate of charges flowing in a volume. That means this statement gives that if you considering some surface, this will be the surface S volume bounded by some volume. So, in this surface the charges not equal to 0, then the charge density within that volume must be changed. Charge density rho within that volume will be changing with respect to time in the manner of that if you increase the rate of change, time rate, if you increase time, then the charge density or a charge within the volume is equal to the net rate of flow of charges in that volume. That means how much the volume charges going outside, that should be equal to the charges coming inside, that not be equal to 0. Charges within the surface will be not equal to the 0. This statement is very important, states the principle of charge of conservation for 2 marks. So, it states that if the net charge across the surface bounded by some volume is not equal to 0, then when it is not equal to 0 means the charge density within that surface will be changing with respect to the time in the manner that the time will be goes on increasing, means within that surface means that should be equal to the net rate of flow of charges in the volume. This statement will be very important. It explains that the charge within that surface will not equal to 0 and the charge density will be changing with respect to the time in the manner that increase of time means the volume charges, the volume will be equal to the net rate of flow of charges within that volume. So, let us give the explanation about the equation of continuity by using the principle of charge of conservation. So, firstly I told that the equation of continuity will be explained by using the principle of charge of conservation laws of charges. So, firstly we know that the current will be flowing outside will be given by, here I will be current, that should be equal to the surface energy of J ds. This is equation 1. That means here we considering the charge will be normal to the charge density and the current will be given by, current flowing outside will be given by I surface of J ds, and we know that normally the current will be given by I dq by dt. This is the normal equation of current, and current moving outside will be given by surface energy of J ds and the current will be given by minus dq by dt. And the charge q will be given by, one minute. and charge Q will be given by volume of charge density into dV. This is equation 3. We know that the current moving outside will be given by this equation. This is current moving outside, and this is normal equation of current, and the charge will be given by rho dV. Rho will be charge density. Charge density, and by substituting this equation 3 in equation 2, we get I will be equal to minus d by dt volume of rho dV. This is equation number 4. So, by comparing this equation 4 and equation 1, that means both are one and the same, both are current. First equation will be current moving outside, and this will be the normal current equation. By substituting, by comparing equation 4 and 1, comparing equation 1 and 4, we get by comparing equation 4, 1, that is surface energy of J ds, that should be equal to the minus d by dt volume of rho dV. So, this will be the comparison between the equation 1 and the 4. So, let us consider this equation, or let us consider the Gauss divergent equation. Gauss divergent equation that will tell the relationship between surface to the volume. So, this surface energy will be equal to the volume of divergent J dV. This will be the Gauss divergent equation or Gauss divergent theorem. So, from it will gives the relationship between, in the last class we discussed that it will gives the relationship between surface to the volume integral. Surface J will be given by del of volume integral. So, by substituting this will be equation 5 and this will be equation 6. By substituting equation 6 in 5, the 5 will be become volume integral of del J, that should be equal to minus d by dt volume integral of rho dV. So, if you simplify this equation, we get del J, that should be equal to minus d rho by dt. Here dV get cancelled, volume integral get cancelled, we left with this equation. Divergent of J, that should be equal to the minus d rho by dt. So, we can give, this will be the mathematical expression of equation of continuity. So, we can say that the number of current will be flowing outside means that there will be decrease in the charges inside that volume. That means, if you considering some surface, the current will be flowing outside. Some 10 Newton of current will be flowing outside means here the charges goes on increasing, means generally we know that the current is nothing but the flow of charges. some amount will be flowing outside means the charges inside that surface will be goes on decreasing. If you consider normal example means, if you considering the dams, if they open the gates of the dams, the water will be flowing outside means the water stored inside the dam will be goes on decreasing. Same way, if you considering the flow of current will be moving outside means the charges inside that area will be goes on decreasing, because the flow of current, because the flow of charges is nothing but the current will be flowing means the charges will be decreasing. So, we can rewrite this equation as del J plus dt d rho by dt. So, this will be the mathematical form of equation of continuity. For that we can considering the isolated system of charges. So, for that considering the current moving outside, so that will be I surface of J ds, and also normal current formula, that is I will be equal to minus dq by dt. So, q will be charge that will be given by volume of charge density and dV, and by substituting this equation in equation 2 we get one equation. By comparing these 4 and 1 we get an equation. Next we have to consider the Gauss divergent theorem. Gauss divergent theorem gives the relationship between the surface to the volume integral, and substituting that Gauss divergent theorem we get a equation that is thus tells that the current moving outside means the charges inside that volume goes on decreasing. If you want to remember this means remember the dam filled with water. If they open the gate, the water will be flowing outside means water inside the dam will be goes on increasing. Okay. So, this will be the mathematical expression of equation of continuity. If they ask to write equation of continuity in detail for 3 to 4 marks means, firstly we have to state the conservation of charge, principle of conservation of charge. After that we have to write the mathematical form of equation of continuity. So, equation of continuity tells that it mainly explained by using the conservation of charges, okay, principle of conservation of charges. Okay. So, next one will be Maxwell's equations. So, Maxwell's equations are the main equations in electromagnetic theory. So, like the Newton's laws or laws of gravitations in classical mechanics, we consider that laws in classical mechanics. Similarly, the Maxwell's equations are the basic equation or fundamental equations in a electromagnetic theory. So, Maxwell's in 1831 gives 4 fundamental equations . Use the 4 fundamental equation by taking 2 experiment, that is Oersted experiment plus Faraday experiment. He gives the theory of electromagnetism. So, these 4 fundamental equations are mainly based on the 4 equations. First, law of Maxwell will be based on the Gauss law. For competitive exams they will ask. For second law of equation or Maxwell equation will be mainly based on the Biot-Savart law. And the third Maxwell equation will be mainly based on the Ampere's law. and the fourth one will be based on the Faraday law. By using these four laws, that is Gauss law, Biot-Savart law, Ampere's law and Faraday's law, he gives the four Maxwell's equations, and we call that equations as Maxwell's equation or the electromagnetic equations. The first law of Maxwell equations, this is also very important. They will ask, write four. They will ask like this, write four Maxwell's equations, or they will ask write four electromagnetic equations. The first, the Maxwell's equations tells that del D that should del dot D that should be equal to rho, and the second equation will be del dot B that should be equal to 0. Third equation will be del cross E that should be equal to minus of dB by dt, and the fourth Maxwell equations will be del cross H that should be equal to J plus D by dt. This is the Maxwell's equations. So, del dot D will be equal to rho, del dot B will be equal to 0, del cross E will be equal to minus of dB by dt, del cross H should be equal to J plus dB by dt. So, let us understand what are the terms, what is D, what is B, what is E, what is H, what is J, okay, what is rho. So, before going to that, we can rewrite this equation as like this. Divergent of D that should be equal to rho. Next, divergent of B that should be equal to 0. Next, curl of E that should be equal to minus dB by dt. Curl of H that should be equal to J plus dD by dt. We can write like this also. So, let us understand what are the terms. So, here rho will be the charge density. Rho will be charge density, and D will be the electric displacement. Electric displacement, and B will be the magnetic flux, density, and H will be the magnetic strength. So, these are all the terms and the Maxwell's equations. Maxwell's equations are four equations. First one will be del dot D will be rho, del dot B will be equal to 0, del cross E will be minus dB by dt, del cross H will be J plus dB by dt. So, we can write this equation as like this also, divergent, using the term divergent and a curve, where D will be the electric displacement and rho will be the charge density, magnetic flux density, electric field, the magnetic strength. These are all the terms. So, we can tell some of the equation, that is rho and the epsilon naught. And that E always given by E naught and E r, mu will be given by mu naught and mu or absolute permeability, and we can B. So these are all some basic equations comes under the electromagnetic theory. So next one will be, let us derive how we get this equation and this and these equations. So for the sake of examination, if they ask for 2 marks, this is enough. Write the 4 equation and explain the terms of equations. If they ask derive specifically for this equation, derive equation of Maxwell's equation, derive first Maxwell's equation. If they ask for 4 marks, means we have to derive how we get the del dot D will be equal to rho and del dot B will be 0, del cross E will be this one and del cross H will be this value. We have to derive for 4 marks. If they ask for 2 marks, this is enough. Let us derive del dot D will be equal to rho. Okay. So if they ask for 4 marks, so derive Maxwell's first equation, that is del dot D will be equal to rho. So for this we have to consider the isolated system, or isolated system means consisting of 2 charge densities. First one will be the normal charge density and rho p means the polarized charge density. So here the combination of charge density and the polarized charge density, the system consisting of both charges density and the polarized charge density. For this, according to the Gauss law gives that the E, surface energy of E will be equal to Q by epsilon naught. So this will be the according to the Gauss law. So here we know that the Q will be the charge that will be given by the sum of the charge density plus the polarized charge density. So volume integral of charge density plus the volume integral of the polarized density. So if you substituting this Q value for equation 1, we get surface energy of E, that ds, that should be equal to 1 by epsilon naught. Instead of Q, that will be the U, so volume integral of the charge density plus polarized charge density, and we know that the polarized charge density will be given by minus del P. So by substituting these for this equation will be changes to 1 by epsilon naught. This will be same volume integral of rho, but instead of plus rho p will be given by minus del p. Just substitute the del p into dV. Next one, according to the Gauss divergent theorem. Firstly, we have to consider the Gauss law, that is surface of E ds will be equal to Q by epsilon naught. After that we have to substitute the Q value. Q value will be volume integral of rho plus rho p, and the rho p will be given by minus del p. Okay. So according to the Gauss divergent theorem, the Gauss divergent theorem gives the relationship between the surface to the volume integral. So surface energy of EDS will be given by the volume integral of del dot E dV. This will be the Gauss divergent theorem. So instead of these, just substitute this value. Here what happens means, by considering this term this side, that means I will rewrite this. So by substituting this volume integral of del E dV, that should be equal to 1 by epsilon naught volume integral of rho minus del P, that is dV. So by taking this epsilon naught this side, V del epsilon naught E dV, that should be equal to rho V minus V del P dV. So we neglect this term, we left with V del epsilon naught E dV, that should be equal to rho dV. So here epsilon naught and E will be given by capital D. This will be equal to D dV, that should be equal to volume integral of rho dV. By cancelling dV and volume integral, we left with del dot D, that should be equal to rho. This is the Maxwell's first equation. For this, firstly we have to consider the Gauss law, that is surface of E will be equal to the Q by epsilon naught. Instead of Q, the total number of charges of normal charge density and the polarized charge density. Next, substitute the polarized charge density, that is minus del P, and considering the Gauss divergent theorem, simplify that, we get a del D will be equal to rho. This will be the first Maxwell's equations. And next, second one will be del B will be equal to 0. Firstly, I told that first law will be based on the Gauss law and the second one will be Biot-Savart law. By considering the Biot-Savart law, Biot-Savart law tells the B will be equal to the magnetic flux will be equal to the mu naught 4 pi I integral of dl into r by rq. Here dl will be the, so here r will be the position vector and dl will be the small element. In the PU classes we derived the Biot-Savart law, isn't it? So that directly by considering the Biot-Savart law, mu will be the absolute permeability and dl will be the small element, r will be the position vector. So by taking the del on both the side of this equation, we get del B, that should be equal to mu naught 4 pi I integral of del dl cross r rq. So by using the vector identities, that vector identity formula, this is vector identity formula, that is del of A cross B, that should be equal to the B into del cross A minus A, that should be equal to the del cross B. Here the A is nothing but this term and the B will be this term. By substituting that, all the term will be equal to 0, we get the del B will be equal to dl into 0 means whole term get 0, del B will be equal to 0. So this will be the derivation of second Maxwell equation, that is del B will be equal to 0. So these are all two Maxwell's equation, the Maxwell equation first and the Maxwell's equation second. In the next class, let us discuss third Maxwell's equation and the fourth Maxwell equation. For first Maxwell's equation, we have to consider the Gauss law and the second one Biot-Savart law. For the third one, Ampere's circuit law and the fourth one Faraday's law. By considering the basic laws, we have to derive the Maxwell's equations. Thank you.